Hello and welcome to another live Newsburst live full force podcast. I'm just going to move the lighting a little bit. There we go. So I have to rush this one out. It took me ages to kind of put all of the images together for this one as well. There's so many of them. So yes, today I'm going live to discuss the Mezco Storm Shadow that has just been kind of revealed in all of its glory, all the pre-order images and the pre-order, of course, as well. And I'm just going to talk through it. Hello, Legendary Toys. Looks great. It's certainly, well, not this, but in a second when we start talking about Storm Shadow, yes, he does look great, doesn't he? So I guess, because it's going to, I don't have much time, unfortunately, but so this is going to be like a 2-hour job. But let's get stuck in to these amazing images that just look absolutely wonderful. Yes, so a short time ago, and of course we'll start with yesterday, Mezco Toys dropped a teaser that Storm Shadow was going to be revealed as a pre-order for the latest 112 collective toy line for G.I. Joe. We got that cool little kind of like teaser image of him holding the sword, which we'll get to in a moment. But prior to that, almost over a year ago, they revealed the figure and gave us this different head. Now, the good news is there are lots of alternate heads in this one, including an unmasked one, which you can see there, which is kind of interesting. But also, it does look like we're getting both of those heads that we've seen on the teaser images as well. But we'll go through all of the amazing images that dropped as well. Now, link in the description, of course, if you want to pre-order. On the Mezco site. Hello, Michael G. Fleming. Hello, Legendary Toys, as I've already said hello. So let's get stuck into these images because they are incredible. Loads and loads of product images, starting with these two cheeky Night Mountain Arashikage Temple style shots. So first off, we start seeing all of the accessories he's going to come with, and we'll get to like the full loadout that he comes with and everything that he comes with at the end of all these images. But of course, we get this wonderful kind of compound. It's not a compound bow. It's like a more complex than a standard bow, but effectively a standard bow. And of course, the arrows, the quiver, secondary, all that kind of gear. You can see that he's got kind of like material-based clothing as well, as what all the 112 collective figures tend to do. You get the figure, and then you get like the soft goods that come with it. And they do really good soft goods, actually, Mezco. I'm quite impressed with what they've done so far. Yojo, Serbo Jam. A lot of people have been saying things like, as well, like, I'm kind of, they're a bit annoyed that we're getting another reveal, another pre-order, and we haven't delivered on, Roadblock or Destro so far, or Snake Eyes. So, and I'm sure Roadblock has been getting dished out to some people. I'm sure some people have had Roadblock in hand, but I don't know what the situation is with Mezco and their kind of current delivery scenario. So it sounds like it's a little bit sketchy at the moment as well. Like they're not, they haven't been able to complete on a lot of their earlier releases. So Storm Shadow does look pretty dope though, and let's focus on that for the time being. He's also got those side daggers. The hood comes up by the looks of it, so it can kind of go down and come up, and it's soft good. So that's pretty awesome. And he's got some sort of kind of like shin guard gauntlets going on as well, which is pretty neat, and the old knee pads. It's kind of like an interesting. Yeah, Jamie is a good shout actually. Yeah, Mezco like mini Hot Toys. I've got a few and they are nice. Yes, absolutely, Jamie. Good shout as well. Thank you, Jamie. But yeah, I agree with that. Like I've said it before, but I've got one of the Batman Mezco figures, and they're really good. Like everything about it is really top quality. I'm just going to move my camera a bit. Yeah, so yeah, I'm kind of interested to see some of these in hand, and Storm Shadow looks really good. And Michael Jean Fleming says, from what I understand, listening to General Toy Podcast, that is normal for Mezco. Yeah, as in the delivery situation. Yeah, lots of reveals, lots of pre-orders, and not a lot delivered yet. But it'll get there. It's about being patient, I think, with some of these. It's quite a lot to expect of customers, though, isn't it? Sometimes I feel like maybe you should minimize that window a bit. When you know that it's not going to be out or going to be done for a while, the problem is you've got this constant circle of like, well, we need the pre-order money to pay for the production and so on and so forth. So there is like a difficult whole scenario of it. And I think as customers, a lot of people have learned to be patient with it, or have just accepted that that's how it is. But yeah, there is a big distance between pre-order or, like, reveal, and then of course delivery. Is a huge distance that needs to be, that needs to start getting minimized for a lot of these lines, I think. Anyway, some very cool shots of this, and they really do product imagery well, Mezco. Like, I can't fault them on that at all. Talking Joe says, I was just looking at Rob Atkins' Storm Shadow cover where he has the bow and comparing to this photo. Yeah, there's big Atkins vibes. I imagine that a lot of the product photography, they've tried to mimic some of the famous imagery of Storm Shadow. And you can definitely see Rob Atkins in that first shot, can't you? Right, moving on, and we get our first look close up of those swords. Now, I will. Yesterday's news burst, I said I loved all the texture and the cut marks on the swords. It turned out to be Snake Eyes reflection. Now, I thought for a second, I wonder if they've painted a Snake Eyes reflection into the actual swords. No, they haven't. As you can see, they are just your normal kind of sword, steel looking swords. But again, I do like the texture they've got going on those as well. And he looks cool again in the snow there. His arms must be cold, mustn't they, in the snow there? Hood up, and you've got that kind of, like I said before, that kind of the mask is very kind of like detailed. There's lots of little kind of like specific marks and lines and stuff in them. I just want to check on the other two hat. Yeah, I think they use the same head on both of those images as well. Then you've got your alternate head unmasked, and you can see they've gone with that kind of like, I suppose that is kind of, it does look like how I expect Tommy to look when you think of how he's been in the comics and how we've seen him unmasked in the figures. I remember that won the mail away one on the comic packs ages ago, like in the early 2000s. That was a fun figure. We talked about that recently, I think, in a month. I say recently. Aaron Scott, yes, very impressive, isn't he? Very impressive. And I like how he looks here, just kind of chilling inside the dojo, holding the sword the way he does. Cobra emblem on the uniform, obviously, because this is the Cobra era Storm Shadow that we're dealing with here. And then we have a few more shots. So we've got him using his nunchucks as well there, nunchuka. And you can see the hood again, kind of like down. So that is just it's not like separate pieces. Like we're talking, that goes up and down, and it looks good in both ways. Up, like, again, they do really good, soft, good elements, Mezco. So I'm really pleased with how they've turned out. As you can see on his secondary, you've got those kind of like throwing knives or throwing spikes, kind of locked in on there, which is pretty cool as well. Pouches all over the belt as well. Liefeld would be proud. And of course, that shot of him kind of jumping off the roof again in the snow. It's like he only does stuff in the snow. Those arms must be freezing cold. He's a ninja, he can deal with it. But again, great shots of, again, it's the same mask, all the lines and everything. So as I was going through these images, I was thinking, oh, maybe we're not going to get that other helmet, but other mask, but it looks like we do, and we'll get there eventually. And no, still the same one. So here he is again, showing off that backpack a little bit with the sword sheaths on the quiver. And I guess the bow and arrow does go on there as well. Sorry, the bow goes on there as well. And you can see him wielding his two swords as well. Madam Two Swords, what? And there he is with an explosion in the background. And of course, we love explosions on the full force. Fake ones, movie ones, you know what I'm talking about. Not actual explosions. They're terrifying, but I mean, like in the fake way. Super Science says, would be nice for the next classified Stormy to have an unmasked head. Actually, yeah, it would. That would be pretty cool for a classified figure. Definitely agree with that. Sorry, phone going off in the background. Just ignore that for now. I am. Sean says, I wonder if they have a new body for this release. I just got the Death Adder and he can't do these poses. I would imagine so then. I would imagine we're looking at a separate, different style body for that one, Sean. If they're getting them in this pose, it would be, I think it's bad enough with like pre-production samples to get stuff into poses. And if they can get into these poses, then yeah, I'm sure the actual figure can. And I'm sure this is probably production level. Oh, Super Science says camo colors and body armor. Yes. I would love the version 2, actually. I think that would be so good. Jamie says they need the pre-order money to pay for the tiny sewing machines needed to make these outfits. Yeah, they do, don't they? Anyway, that is those shots with the, again, love an explosion. Like I said, a fake one on the full force. On this one, we got again, like from the roof. That kind of has. What issue was it when he was wearing his version 2 costume and he gets attacked in the building by red ninjas, and he comes out from the ceiling and takes them out. I love that. And you can see him throwing some ninja stars there as well, some shuriken, as he kind of does a flip off the roof, whatever he's doing, the beams. And then the other shot is of him throwing those ninja stars, but that is an actual accessory. So I believe these throwing aspects, in much the same way that Snake Eyes was done, they've done the same for Storm Shadow here and given him lots of different kind of throwing effects, which is pretty cool. Blast effects, but for analog blast effects, we could call them. Yeah, again, still wearing the same mask there, which all the way through, I'm thinking, I wonder if they have included that other head. Maybe not. There are even more images. Some beauties here. Again, throwing whatever that is. I can't even tell what that is. A grenade or something, or just a little. Well, I can't tell what it is, but he's throwing something. We'll find out when we get to the accessories. Because, like I said, I've had about 10 seconds to look at all these as well before trying to get this live going. Climbing claws on the hands. Maybe they're separate hands with the climbing claws. The shuriken can attach as well, just like the throwing kind of daggers, the throwing kind of points. They can all attach to the secondary, which is pretty cool. Yeah, and again, just more nice close-ups of the detail on that particular head. Smoke bomb. Thank you. It is a smoke bomb. Thank you, Talking Joe. I would have got there in the end when I read all of the information on the accessories, but yeah, that is effectively what that is. Looking pretty good. The exposed arms look pretty good as well. Like there's obviously that kind of concern sometimes with some of these figures that they're going to look really janky with all the articulation points. But no, I think he looks pretty dope, and I do like Mezco's style with these Joes so far. Really like chunky legs on Mezco figures, aren't they? I love that. And then this shot, this is an interesting shot. This looks like the interior of someone's colonoscopy that Storm Shadow is like right in there. It could be any interior giant whale that he's inside of, but it does look like the colon, doesn't it? That Storm Shadow in a space kind of style. But I love that pose holding the nunchucks like that. I used to do that all the time. If ever I got like toy nunchucks, or my mate had my mate Ian McQuatty, I'll shout Ian McQuatty out. His dad, I don't think they were Ian's because he was really young at the time. We were like in junior school. His dad had some like training nunchucker, which had like the kind of like foam kind of hand, like the foam around the handles and then the chain. Man, I had some fun with those. Oh my goodness. Because they're like, you could go nuts with those. You get hit, it's all right. Unless you catch yourself in the, in the family jewels, but like the Arashikage family jewels. But yeah, I used to love those. Learned a lot of cool stuff about nunchucks using those. But I would always hold them like that, or or under the arms. It's so much fun. So much fun. Nunchucks are so much fun when they're in that fun environment and not being used on you. But yeah, and again, some great shots of the character here. Again, really highlighting the posing opportunities you've got with this. Sean says this is the 5th Joe character they have announced. Hopefully they keep going on this line. We should see the first release of Destro soon. Yeah, I must have dreamt it, but I thought Roadblock had snuck out in hand somewhere. Might be confusing that Mezco Roadblock with the 3-0 Roadblock, which is a possibility because I always do that, even though they're two completely different scales and companies. But they kind of released similar characters at a similar time, so it's like it's hard to kind of like keep ahead on it. But yeah, fingers crossed we do start seeing these, Sean, definitely. Anyway, yeah. So, and you can also see on the bottom of his foot, the detailing on the bottom of his kind of ninja shoe there as well, which is pretty dope. Cool. And as we continue to go through, and I guess you can also see the more of the trouser material and how that kind of works too. Yeah, really cool. Yeah, I'm liking this figure, guys. I have to say, again, still no sign of that head. Um, Talking Joe says they're dictating the product photography shots. Storm Shadow, nunchucks, speech to text. Storm Shadow colon nunchucks. Talking about this one on the left here. Yeah, brilliant. Brilliant. And then the photographer's like, okay, strange request, but customer is always right. And that's what you get. You get Storm Shadow in a space. Genius Talking Joe, Mark, absolute genius. Yeah, so coming, this is the more this is a robot colon we're in now on the left here, isn't it? But I like this. This is kind of like vibes of the Rise of Cobra movie when they're in the underwater base. That's what it had, like that tube kind of submarine feel going on there, or maybe on like some sort of Operation Blackout flag sort of vibe going on there. And there you see another weapon in use, the Kuriyama, I want to call it. I think that's what it's called. The kind of like curved blade on a handle scenario. And something in his hand there, can't quite tell what that is. You'll have to let me know because I just have not been able to study these as much as a lot of you are doing right now, I could imagine. But yeah, I just wanted to kind of get this out there quick. Quick kick. He would be great as Mezco, but he would be very exposed. So a lot of they'd have to, I don't know what the body looks like underneath all the clothing. Anyway, Payne says, it looks good, just not a Mezco collector. Totally fine, Payne. I'm the same. Like I'm looking at these I'm enjoying them from a distance. Almost definitely. I might, if the opportunity arises in the future, pick one or two of these up. But I'm certainly not like going to be. I'm not. You know, we're already at like extinction level event monetarily with some of these lines. Like, there's no way I can throw another 100+ figure line on this one. And he is $95 actually on for pre-order with a non-refundable deposit of $23.75. So if you are wanting to pre-order this bad boy on Mezco Toyz, you can of course do that for $95 in a link in the description below. Wilfredo Diaz says, does anyone wish Classified would produce the tattoo Storm Shadow figure? God, I really want that inked upper Storm Shadow. Mate, so bad. I would love that figure in any format because the tattoo looks so cool. What did we see it on recently or not see it on? Was it the Higher Toys Storm Shadow? Did they have I've completely forgotten if the tattoo's on there or not. I want to say, I can't remember. I just cannot for the life of me remember. If only there was a way to find out these things, Christopher. Maybe if I just typed Higher Toys Storm Shadow into some sort of search engine, I would be able to see. Yeah, I don't think he did he? No, he didn't come with the tattoo. So I think, Higher Toys had an opportunity there to put the tattoo on the arm. But yeah, I'd love to see that, Wilfredo, big time. Oh, wow. So for me, it's monetary. Like I'm not getting into all these lines for that. But Payne, yeah, you've dropped 255 on Cosmic Legions about half an hour ago. Yeah, I imagine it's priorities in those sense, and I totally get that. Anyway, moving along, we get this final product image of this is like a Turtles homage, right? This looks just like that cover with is it Raphael when he's on the roof and he's staking out Shredder, the Foot Clan's lair. This is like the early Mirage series, like probably in the first couple of issues, maybe in the first issue. And there's this classic shot of Raphael with his hand on the top of the wall and one out, like looking over. I think my TMNT fans will know what I'm talking about. TMNT and TMHT fans will know what I'm on about. But there's a classic shot of Raphael on the roof staking out the Foot Clan's HQ. And it just reminds me of that. It's got massive vibes, but I love that pose. It's really cool. And again, you get to see him with all his gear on. I'm not sure if I've seen the bow yet on the quiver. Is the bow been on? It's just the swords and the arrows, I think, for the most part. I haven't actually seen the bow on any of these shots. I might be wrong. I'm just kind of glancing at it wrong, but I would hope that the bow affixes to the backpack. But love that shot as well. And finally, we have all of the things he comes with. Now, I assumed that one of the heads of the being shown was the other one, but maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I've made that incorrect. Let me just see if I can find that shot so I can look at it closer. Because I thought one of those heads, I thought the head that was on him was the more basic one without the details. Let me just double check that, because I don't want to obviously give you the incorrect information. Obviously, I don't want to be saying this, that, and the other, and it's not the case. When I saw it, I just automatically assumed we were looking at 3 heads with one on the figure, and one looked like I thought it might be non-detailed, and I'm pretty sure that's the case. The one that's on the figure is not detailed in any, it's not the detailed one. So here's an even closer shot of it, and this is the one I'm thinking is the one they originally revealed, that was kind of very material based with no details on it, no kind of lines and stuff. So I'm thinking, yeah, 3 interchangeable head portraits. Why didn't I just read it, McLeod? Just read what it says and you'll find out. I notice no one's helping me in the comments. I'm just kidding, guys. Thank you very much. But yeah, brilliant. I was right at the start of that. I was correct to assume that, and I did see it correctly. So yeah, we got 3 interchangeable heads. You've got the default kind of, well, I say default one, but the one they've used in all the product photography looks to be the kind of one with all the details on it, the one they showed off yesterday. And the other alternate head is the mask that looks like sewn material, which is great. I'm so happy they've included it. Like for some reason I thought they'd changed tack and we'd never see that head, but I really like that head from that angle that we saw from the side. It just looked really really interesting, and mimicked what a mask would look like, with like a proper stretchy material mask would look like. And of course, you've got the unmasked head, which looks great there as well. So that's really cool. So 3 heads are better than 1. Lovely stuff. Then we've got the massive amount of hands. So it looks like we've got maybe some kind of open, kind of sprayed out finger type hands. Then we've got like a left chop and a right smoke bomb. Then we've got the climbing claws, left and right. Then we've got maybe some fists or some default kind of C grips. It's hard to see what they all are, but effectively they're all different for things like the throwing, shuriken, for using the bow, and all that kind of stuff. So there's a lot of differences going on, a lot of different hands to be utilized here, which is great. Payne says, it's great photography as usual. Really dig their marketing shots. Or you dish their marketing shots. I don't know what you're trying to say there. I also dish their marketing shots as well, then, Payne, big time, because they are great, aren't they? They really know how to do marketing photography, and I love that about Mezco, definitely. Yeah, cool. So lots of hands. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 pairs. Or 14 interchangeable. That's 2 sevens, isn't it? I could just read these things, couldn't I, rather than just counting them? But yeah, and you can see he's got the fists, I think, closed fists on the figure in the shot as well. And all the secondaries you've got to take into consideration. You've got the thigh kind of secondary, for, I'm guessing, some of the weapons, or whatever you can fit in there. And then you've got the secondary that goes over the body, which contains the other kind of like throwing accessories. Why can't I see? I can't see the little prongs. You know, the throwing prongs. All I can see are they don't have the prongs on there, do they? Those little kind of throwing daggers. Or am I just missing it somehow? Am I doing this again? Am I just being an idiot and not seeing it? Because it shows on some of the shots and on the secondary the throwing daggers in his secondary, and for some reason they're not laid out. Yeah, Okay, well, he does come with them, just not in the kind of like accessory layout. Anyway, he's got the figure stand and the kind of like it's like a one of those things that pinches around the waist, isn't it? Usually, and it connects to the base, which is pretty dope. Adjustable posing post. Again, I should just read it, shouldn't I? Cool. And then obviously we've got these really intricate kind of throwing. It's missing some accessories. Okay, cool. Yeah, it does look like it because there was some stuff that we saw that I'm like, hang on. And I'm sure one of those hands has got, yeah, one of the hands has got the little smoke bomb in it. So yeah, you've got smoke bomb throwing FX, which is great. Shuriken deflecting FX. Oh, that's cool. It attaches to the Wakizashi or the Adachi sword. That's dope. That's really cool. So you can show him deflecting the shuriken. That's cool. And 3 shuriken throwing effects. Yeah. So you've got so the one on the top left is the smoke bomb throwing. The one in the middle is the deflection of shuriken, and the one or no, is it the other way around? Is the one on the right the deflection? I think the one on the right is deflection because you've got that kind of like effect before they go different directions. Yeah, the middle one is the throwing one. They just haven't lined it up with the text there. So the middle one is the throwing, and the one on the right is the deflection that attaches to the swords. So cool. Then obviously got the Wakizashi, the longer sword, the Odachi with the shorter one, the bow, quiver, sword sheath. So that is all connected as one. Bunch of arrows, 3 arrows, and bow. Also, the bunch of arrows are all connected, I guess, and probably always in there. And then the 3 loose arrows probably go in there as well, but they didn't want to give you like 30 of the arrows, I guess. And then you've got that kind of like collapsible bow, which I don't know if it's collapsible, but that's what the style is. The one where the kind of the limbs fold down. Very, very cool though, and very awesome. I like that a lot. I just wanted to see if the bow attached bow. It doesn't actually mention. No, it doesn't mention if the bow attaches to the backpack, and I don't think it does. Looking at it there, so it would just be the swords that go in there, the arrows that go in there, and then everything else is either kind of on his person. I'm not sure if you better hold all of his gear, which is a shame. But that's the situation we're dealing with there. As we go through all of the rest of them, we've got the 2 sai and the nunchaka, which is awesome. That the nunchucks look great, actually. They look really cool, and especially in that image where he's holding them and posing with them through his arm, brilliant. And the sai, of course, synonymous with ninjas, and of course Raphael, who I mentioned before. That maybe that homage was there because of the size. Who knows? But maybe it's not. Maybe it's something completely different. But it just looked like that shot that I'm sure was probably yoinked from somewhere else originally. Anyway, the 2 hand scythes, which I've been calling Kuriyama because I think it's effectively the similar thing, a handle with a curved blade in the same kind of style. But yeah, hand scythes are cool with me. They almost look like they can kind of collapse down, but I don't know the intricacies of that. And then we've, of course, got 3 Manji Shuriken, which I'm assuming are the long kind of almost like the Kroll Shuriken. 3 Hera Shuriken, which are the small ones, I believe. Not necessarily, though, because they haven't lined them up at the top, so they might not have lined the text up at the bottom here either. And 6 Happo Shuriken, which I assume would be the straight lined kind of almost cross-like, not curved shuriken as well, which is great, which is awesome. So that's plenty of shuriken to go around, which I assume can attach somewhere on his person. Maybe not all of it, but at least 3 of each on the secondary or something. But yeah, absolutely loaded up. But yeah, I don't know where those. I'm going to go through again, just go back and see if we can. Yeah, because he's got those throwing daggers in the secondary on this shot. He's got them on that shot on the right. He's got them on that shot on the left. He's got both shots there, and and some shuriken like locked in there too. He's got they're in like almost every product shot. So if they're not part of the weapons loadout, I'd be very surprised. And maybe they've just forgotten to add those in the kind of the lineup of weapons. But anyway, big day, I guess. it's like non-stop this week. It's been unbelievable. But happy that Storm Shadow happened before I had to go to the dentist. Yeah, so I'll be doing that right now. It's a deep clean. This one, don't worry, guys. Nothing concerning and nothing worrying. Anyway, it's been a pleasure. Thanks for joining me for this little kind of like run through of the Storm Shadow from Mezco, 112 Collective Mezco figure, which is, like I said, link in the description if you want to pre-order it now for 95 bones. It's, I think, there's a non-refundable deposit to put down, like 23 something, 65, I think it was. 23.75. So if you want to do that, you can, obviously, but beware that you will have a non-refundable deposit if you want to cancel at any point. Now, let's quickly switch. Let's quickly transition to a different screen for this particular ending. Yo, okay, so yes, thanks for joining me, guys. Really appreciate it. This is my second live of the day. Busy. But also this saves me from doing a news burst about it, doesn't it, really? As in like an edited, recorded news burst scenario. So yeah, I don't have to do that now. Save me some time and some energy and some effort. Yay. Right. Got a packed weekly for you tomorrow. And we don't know when the Super 7 reveal is going to be. I don't know if I'm hoping if it's really early or if it's much later in the day so that I have, the weekly can happen and then I can get on with it. I just have a feeling it's going to drop the moment Pat and I start recording, which, we can't really there's not much we can do about that. So I'll just do a news burst to follow, more than likely. But we've got that to look forward to tomorrow. Quick kick video, which I probably won't have time to do tonight now because I've got all the other videos to prepare for the weekly. But thank you for joining me on this chat with about Storm Shadow and Mezco. And I will return very soon with loads more content because it just seems to be thick and fast at the moment. Thank you for joining me in the comments and thank you for chatting along and watching. It's always fun, of course, when there's other people involved. Like I said, I'll be back. So, keep it locked. Stay fresh, cheese bags. And as always, after 3, 1, 2, 3, full force. See you later. That's it for this installment of the Full Force News Burst. Make sure to like, comment and subscribe. See you next time, and as always, full force. Make sure you get involved with the discussion by liking, sharing and commenting on these videos, and as always you can keep up with the show after listening by following on Twitter @TheFullForce, liking the Facebook page facebook.com/TheFullForce, and if you would like to contact the show you can message us on either of those platforms with feedback and questions. We also have a Patreon page, so if you want to show your support for the show, see your name up in lights on these videos, or enjoy exclusive bonus content, then check out patreon.com/TheFullForce podcast, or click on the link on any of the posts this podcast appears in. Full Force.